Call the November 18th ZBA meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Kirkendall,
Here.
Bueno,
Here.
McClellan Jr.,
Here.
Bavacqua,
Here.
Kirkendall,
Here. Oh, you hear me?
Burke, I'm sorry, yes,
Oh, here.
apologies.
I'm
Burke,
like, wait, I'm here. Here.
Anderson,
Here.
all right.
You need May?
And May, I'm sorry.
Present.
That's why I said Kirkendall twice. I'm like, wait.
No, I was looking at you, but I meant to say you, so
Because he
Bear
called
with
you
me.
twice.
Right.
bear with me, bear with me.
It's been a minute.
All right,
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
it has been a minute. Thank you for your grace. Okay,
All right, official communications.
none at this time.
And then we've got the August 19 minutes for review. Are there any questions, concerns, requests for changes?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
So we've got a motion to approve from Burke, second by McClelland. Can we have a roll call, please?
May,
Yes.
Bueno,
Yes.
McClellan,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Kirkendall,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Anderson. Motion passes.
And are there any issues with the agenda? Any changes that anyone?
No, sir, no
made.
issues with the agenda.
Okay. Next is old business. Do we have any old business to address?
No, sir.
All right, on to the important stuff, new business. The administration like to take over.
All right, so I will be doing the presentation for our first case, ZBA case 24-016. Let's see if, there we go. The applicant is Nathan Stevenson. The address is 148 East Howard. They are requesting a variance to allow for a 5.4-foot side yard setback in the C1 zoning district. Nathan Stevenson is requesting the variance in order to allow for the redevelopment of his barbershop and the potential expansion of that barbershop. The reason for the request is due to the unusual L shape of the parcel. This gives you an idea of where it sits within our city. This is North Perry right here. This is East Howard. This is the original barbershop before it was torn down due to a fire last year. The applicant owns 2 parcels and seeks to rebuild, improve, and expand. The Planning Commission has already approved the preliminary plans on condition that the applicant receive this side yard variance from the ZBA. As part of their plans, there will also be parking across the street. This shows you where it sits within our zoning map, and this is the need for the variance. Typically in a C1 district like this, there's no side yard setback variance required. You can build right up to the lot line. The issue is that they border residential, this deeper red here. Now, fortunately, it is a higher density residential as opposed to single family up here. And so the issue is, sorry, my hand's kind of shaky, but you can see how the parcel extends down here. The issue is that since there is residential on 3 sides, it significantly reduces where on the parcel they can develop if they maintain that 20-foot side yard setback. The parcel itself is only 40 feet wide at the rear. So 20 feet from both sides means they can't build on the parcel. So this is the site plan showing you the building design. I highlighted here where the side yard setback would be applicable. You can see why they're running into this issue because they abut the parcel right here due to the L shape. However, you can see the nearest residential is set back significantly far from where the encroachment would occur. On top of that, they're also proposing a masonry wall in order to buffer and improve the aesthetics so that they're not negatively impacting their neighbors. So to go through my analysis, the applicant is requesting a reduction of 14.6 feet from the 20-foot side yard requirement to allow for a side yard setback of 5.4 feet. Due to the unusually thin L-shaped parcel, the applicant is requesting permission to construct their building closer to the side yard setback than is typically allowed when adjacent to residentially zoned properties. The typical side yard setback, as I've already mentioned, is 0, but because they're residential, it bumps up to 20. The portions of the building that extend within the required setback are outlined in red, and the applicant again is proposing a 6-foot masonry wall along the side and rear lot line. This wall should screen the building from the neighbor's view. For some background, there used to be a barbershop located here. It suffered a fire in 2023. The owner of that barber shop, Nathan Stevenson, is going through the process. He's had to get several permits, but he's working his way through the process. It's taken some time, and he's seeking permission to rebuild his shop and expand to allow for 2 additional tenant spaces. Over the last year, the applicant has received a rezoning for the site and preliminary site plan from the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission reviewed and approved that preliminary site plan on October 2nd. And again, it was on condition that he received this side yard variance from the ZBA. If he does not receive it from the ZBA, he'll have to kind of go back to the start and change his plans. I've already kind of talked about the site plans, so I'm not going to say too much more. There will be some ADA accessible parking on site, but otherwise, in order to accommodate the required parking spaces, they're going to be across the street with a crosswalk. 3 tenant spaces within the building, 1 here, and 1 here. Here are the 7 standards for approval and our analysis. In staff's opinion, strict compliance with the letter of the ordinance would render this parcel entirely undevelopable. The parcel is 55 feet wide at the front and 40 feet wide at the rear. If a 20-foot setback is required on both sides, that render the parcel almost entirely undevelopable except at the very front. Approval of this variance will do substantial justice to the applicant by allowing them to rebuild their facility and expand. The parcel's unusually small size compared to others creates challenges for development. The practical difficulty is due to the lot's pre-existing dimensions and not the actions of the applicant. Granting this variance will allow practical use of the lot while preserving the neighborhood's character. The reduction will not negatively impact light, air, street congestion, safety, or property values. Approval of this variance would not result in any impairment of light and air supply to adjacent properties. The proposed structure is only 1 story tall. Approval of this variance could negatively impact the aesthetics of the neighborhood and result in a higher density than is typically desired in the residential neighborhood. The adjacent residences, however, are set back significantly from the subject parcel. Granting this variance would allow the property to be developed in a manner that is consistent with the master plan and will not be detrimental to the broader neighborhood. And with that, we have our typical sample motions.
Are there any questions for the administration?
Oh, no, I do. Corey, can you go back and just show me where the 6-foot fence, that's going to be, the wall, is that going to be on all 3 sides of that?
Yep, all along the back here, and then here, and that's actually required by the ordinance.
Okay.
That's mandatory.
Okay.
So the only questions,
I have a question.
okay, go ahead.
Since we don't actually have the site plan.
Could you turn your microphone on?
On the skinny part of the L, where you have the masonry, what exactly is going there? Is that parking, part of the building, or?
So here, this is the building. It's kind of shaded that darker gray. That's the new proposed building.
Oh, so that whole thing's a building?
Yeah, and then parking's here and across the street.
Okay. Okay, that's it. And the masonry wall that we're talking about, since it's not part of the site plan? And
Yeah, it's
that's guaranteed it's going to go?
it's a guarantee. It is mandatory. It's required. If they don't do it, code enforcement will be after them.
Okay, all right, thank you, that's all.
Any other questions? So I have a question about the property to the east. So it would be adjacent to the left side of that picture. Yeah. You mentioned this residential home that's on the right. Right. But there's another one on the left, and that'd be the one I'd be more concerned about because.
Unfortunately, it's cut off.
Yeah, I've kind of looked at it on a satellite, and
It
that
is
one.
closer. It's over here.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
So, you're talking about a 20-foot setback that was in place so that a house that's right up against this property doesn't have to have a masonry wall right next to their driveway.
Yeah, and if I may share, this dotted line is the 20-foot setback. So if we require the 20-foot setback, they would have to move it back all the way over here.
Right, I understand, but, I can see with the residents that you show on this picture here, that it's the very back end of their yard. It's possibly not that much of an infringement, but when you start talking about building a wall up against a lot line that has someone's driveway right next to it, that's an issue. I mean, you start getting into a taking of someone's enjoyment of their property, and that they bought a place that ordinances were in place that allowed for a 20-foot setback, and now all of a sudden they have a wall there. And what's the height of this wall?
6 feet.
Okay. That's my question and concern.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I think this is something like we had when Moon Funeral Home came in with those properties over there. And the houses you're talking about are halfway houses and they're dumps. I wish they'd tear them all down. And there's a lot of crime in that area and a lot of rundown and nasty houses. So anything in there, I would say, will be an improvement because I live and go up that street every day. So we ain't talking about somebody with a nice home. I would be concerned about that and all this kind of stuff. But it's a halfway house, dumps all the way up down the street. If they don't keep their property up or nothing like that, the houses are falling down. So if the guy put somebody like Moon did, which he improved the property, he also had an extra parking lot up against homes over there because they were close. It's an improvement to the property because, like I said, I wish they would tear all them houses down over there. If it was a good house, residential, people kept their property up and all this stuff, I would say, yeah. But I'm glad that Moon tore all that stuff down because it wasn't nothing but junk and a bunch of drug addicts up and down in there and stuff. So, you know, if it was something else like somebody like that, but I said, I don't see that. You know? I wouldn't put it on somebody who's got a nice subdivision, or they kept their home up. But it's a halfway house, and they're halfway house, and they're dumps. And there's nothing but crime over there in those houses. So I don't want to see it at Moon. We had to do some adjustment to Moon, and it's really nice over there. Sure is. They tore down all those dirty, low-down houses with drug addicts, and they put over there, and it's really nice. And that's what I want to see for our community. I want to see something nice built over there. The barber shop was there before. None of the neighbors complained, but he had a lot of customers and stuff. But I want to see something nice. That place has been a dump over that area for a long time. So I said, my feeling, if it was kept clean and all this kind of stuff, it was something like where Mr. Brano lives over there, it'd be nice. But this place is a crime-infested area. And with the dumps over there, with halfway houses.
Are there any other comments?
Oh, I could say it and I'm through now?
Well, I mean, if you have something new to add, I mean, we got it. We
Okay,
understand.
I would say that when I get through talking, I am through. Okay?
Thank you. Any other comments?
Should we allow the applicant to speak?
I think if the applicant would like to speak, it's that time, so.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. How y'all doing? I'm Nathan Stevenson, the applicant. To speak to your comment, I have a picture here, and the driveway for the house that you said on the east, right? See, there's nothing to the east. That's the parking lot. So that's the east side of the building, and that's period right there.
I meant the west side, yes. I meant
Okay,
the west
to
side
the
of
west side.
this image here.
Their driveway, even better, is on the opposite side of the house. So there's nothing but my property, which my line, if you look at Google 148, then you'll look at that corner or that west side, there's a lot that I purchased in between us. So that's where the L shape will come down. And there's a,
Can you step to the microphone?
oh, I apologize. Okay, again, to the west side, that home that's there, the parking lot or the driveway is on the opposite side. It's further west, down Howard Street. So it's not to bother anybody. I'm okay with the 6-foot wall. There will show separation. And I've already spoken to the owner of the property because they just sold it. And they said they're okay with it and they'd be glad to welcome new business in the neighborhood. And the property, yeah, so we just talk about the west. We talk about the south side of it.
Would you like to make any other comments about your?
No, any questions, I'm here to field them all because I want to get to business.
Any questions of the applicant?
No.
None.
Nobody want to ask me nothing? I've been to 72.
Well, how soon will
I've been-
how soon are you looking at having that?
Man, listen, I would have got this thing. I tell y'all like I told them, y'all some new face. If y'all turn me loose, I would have got this thing done a long time ago.
Yes, sir.
But from what I understand, in the city of Pontiac, there's a process. I'm almost on I am on first name basis with these brothers right here. Corey and I, man, look, listen, we've been chopping it up a long time. As he already informed you, and y'all already know, there's so many hoops you have to jump through. I just want to get the business. I want to employ people. I want to get back to work. You know.
We appreciate that you're following the process, because that's how we get things done right. So we'll have a vote, and we'll see where you end up.
All right, appreciate you.
If there's no more questions, is there a motion?
Yes. I move to approve the dimensional variance to reduce the side yard setback from 20 feet to 5.4 feet at 148 East Howard Street, based on the findings of facts in the staff report.
Second.
So we've got a motion from May and a second from Burke.
Yes.
And is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
May,
Yes.
Bueno,
Yes.
McClellan,
Yes.
Chair Bavacqua,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Burke,
Absolutely.
Anderson.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Stevenson. Motion is passed.
Thanks. I don't know how they got turned off.
Oh, they could hear all that stuff?
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Good luck.
Good job, Nate. I'm
I'm
coming.
gonna hold you to that now.
I'm coming.
I'm gonna hold you to that now. I'll be back. I'll come back.
Shave.
And thank you for the way you got everything laid out. Parking,
Yes, awesome.
ADA, beautiful job. Thanks for working with planning commission.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. Yes.
Decided to move, maybe he can really take it, or he can have room to get some of the parking down here or something. You know? Just to be open.
All right, next item. Case B. Is the administration going to take us through it?
Yes, indeed. Anybody needs a drink of water, use the restroom, now would be the time. 'Cause we are going to be here for a minute, these next few cases.
Is that bad?
Oh, no.
Is it?
We've got nothing but good things about these two gentlemen coming up here.
I should take that off.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here we have Mr. Justin Ivey, property manager of Creek Valley Properties, joining us today here for variance ZBA 24-011. This is going to be a multiple project, 6 properties total. We're going to be starting with 13 Walnut Street. And this is zoned R2, which is a 2-family dwelling zoning district. Mr. Ivy is applying for 4 variances for this particular property address at 13 Walnut. The first one is for the rear yard. He's requesting a reduction from 30 feet to 19.8 feet. And the second variance is for the side yard reduction from 5 feet to 3.9 feet. And the third is for the lot size, which is a reduction from 7,200 square feet to 4,089 square feet. And for the lot width, which is 60 feet to 42 feet. Okay, so right now this is a vacant parcel. And as you can see here, it is on the corner of residential area. Orchard Lake is right here, Walnut right here. And we happen to have a Google image street view here of the current vacant property, parcel, I should say, and along with the land use map here, which again is zoned R2. So for context, Creek Valley Properties, a mobile home buyer, is developing the Walnut Street Manufactured Homes project as stated, which proposes a 6-lot development. Each lot will feature a 1-story, 1,152 square foot manufactured home with an attached 1.5-car garage. The project area encompasses 10,058 square feet total, and these zoning districts range from single-family to 2-family dwelling, R1 to R2 to be exact. And again, 13 Walnut is located in R2 zoning district and encompasses 4,089 square feet. For further context, the modular manufactured homes are both types of prefabricated housing built either partially or entirely in an off-site factory. Modular homes must meet the same local, state, and regional building codes as traditional on-site homes and are placed on permanent foundations. Manufactured homes are built according to federal standards set by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And this parcel is currently city-owned, and the City Council has already approved an option for the applicant to purchase. And we happen to have a site plan here that shows the layout of the property and the proposed car garage, and this is a rendered image, here, of what the manufactured home could potentially look like. Yes, indeed. Okay, so I am already familiar with the standards of approval, so I'm not going to bore you with those details. We're going to go straight to the analysis. There's going to be 4, and I picked 2 findings of support and findings of objection. You can follow along within your packet if you choose. So that will be on page 6 through 14. And we're going to start off with the first variance. So the lot was subdivided before current zoning standards, resulting in dimensions that limit buildable area under strict adherence to the requirements. A smaller reduction would hinder the project without offering significant benefits to neighbors. The limited depth necessitates the variance to accommodate both a home and a garage. The constraints are historical and not a result of the applicant's actions. Granting this variance will allow practical use of the lot while preserving the neighborhood's character, and reducing the setback might limit future expansion or adjustments to surrounding properties due to tighter spacing. Moving on to variance 2, the reduction from 5 feet to 4.5 feet is minor and maintains compatibility with surrounding properties. It is unlikely to negatively impact adjacent properties or neighborhood character. The lot's smaller than standard size due to its original subdivision creates unique constraints for the applicant. The small lot size is a pre-existing condition influenced by past subdivision regulations, not created by the applicant. The reduced side yard setback supports the spirit of the ordinance, promoting reasonable development in line with neighborhood standards, and the reduced setback might impact adjacent properties' privacy or reduce available green space. Variance 3, the reduced lot size allows for efficient use of space without overdeveloping the lot or creating excessive density, although it will allow for density that is much greater than the neighborhood norm, and it will allow a development of a 1,152 square foot home that is compatible with neighborhood character. The unique dimensions justify the request for a reduced minimum lot size to accommodate a functional home, and the limited lot size was established before the applicant's ownership, making it a historical issue rather than a self-created one. And the variance aligns with the ordinance objectives, accommodating unique lot dimensions with maintaining neighborhood compatibility. And lastly, the 40-foot width allows for a functional home and aligns with the residential character of the neighborhood, balancing the property's intended use with surrounding homes. Justified to allow effective use of property constraints. The original subdivision resulted in a significantly narrow lot, creating a unique circumstance beyond the applicant's control, and the narrow width is a pre-existing condition established before the applicant's ownership, indicating the problem is not self-created, and the variance supports reasonable use of the property without disrupting the neighborhood character or public safety. An argument could be made that approving the variance could encourage denser developments in the area, impacting the overall aesthetic and character of the neighborhood. So staff concludes here that Mr. Ivy, the managing partner again of Creek Valley Properties, requests 4 variances for a single-family development at 13 Walnut Street, which again is zoned as an R2 two-family dwelling zoning district. And the proposed development included a 1,152 square foot home on a lot smaller than the required 7,200 square feet, with variances requested for rear and side yard setbacks, minimum lot size, and lot width, according to our zoning ordinance, section 6.506, which allows for reduced lot sizes under certain conditions. And this exception does not apply to the property. However, the project will feature homes built on permanent foundations in compliance with the city's housing and building code, ensuring they are harmonious with the neighborhood's character. And for your reference, we have our sample motions for each of the 4 variances in your packet.
And I would just like to add that due to the complexity of all the variances in this case and in the cases we're hearing tonight, we do have our attorney with us, Morgan McAtammy, who is available to help with crafting any motions or if any issues come up with, process or procedure. So she is available for your use. But in general, what's happening is these parcels were laid out well before the current zoning ordinance requirements for width, size, setbacks, things like that. And so the applicant is seeking to put single-family homes on these parcels, but they're running into issues because of the small size of the parcels, and that's why they're coming forward to you today with so many.
Is there any questions of the administration?
I have a question. Do you have like an example? Do you have something like what the house is looking like? I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
something.
We have a rendered image right here of what a potential property would look like.
But you said that was a potential, not actual.
Well, actual, excuse me. I'm sure
just
the
make-
applicants could probably explain that, yes, but this is just a mock-up of what we would be seeing.
No building permits have been issued, though, if that provides clarity. So first, we're seeking the setbacks, and then the applicant will seek permission to actually build.
Yes.
Okay.
Question, and this, I guess this.
Can you turn your mic on, Mr. Bueno?
Oh, sorry. This is regarding all 4 cases. I know we see dozens of these cases all the time, existing lot, but they've always been infill lots, surrounded by developed homes. So in the past, when you had such a large parcel, here's the opportunity to bring the property closer to the ordinances regarding widths. It looks like it's landlocked regarding the depth of it, but it was hard to tell when you look at the site because it's all vacant. And when you're looking at your lot lines, it doesn't look like houses could be, or what's behind it, even to expand to the rear, but since you have such large property to work with, why wasn't it looked at to maybe make the lots a little wider? Maybe you might have variances for the depth, especially if there's, belongs to somebody's homes, because I couldn't tell where the lines were, property lines were, but why wasn't that addressed or at least looked at? Because that's the issue
Right.
of the zoning board, to try to get everything back into
Right. So.
compliance or closer to it.
So that was discussed, was reducing the number of homes to 4, I believe, or reducing them and removing the lot lines. But in order to make this project economically feasible, my understanding is they need this number of homes.
Was,
If I'm wrong on that, the applicant can speak.
Clarify.
the two houses at 37 and 41, do you have any information on that? They'll look like newer homes, two-story homes, just down the street a little bit. Is that the same small lot size, you know, or do you have any info on that?
Are you referring to 41 Collingwood? Is that the
No,
property that you?
On Walnut, 37,
Oh.
41.
Yeah, just keep going down Walnut.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's two newer homes, two stories.
So the widths are typical? Can you give me
Yes.
the
Yeah.
pointer? Sorry, the other one. The widths are standard on, God, my arm's so shaky. It's standard there on Walnut, but the depth increases once you get further south. And so
Past
that's,
33.
okay. But, so that's why those meet like the area, whereas the ones up here don't, because they're less deep.
I guess, last question for you guys. How's this fit into your master plan?
Sorry, what was that?
How's this fit into your master plan
Well,
of this type of development?
Chair Bavakwa and Ms. Burke can kind of attest to this. We've been talking a lot about diverse housing stock within the city master plan, and this actually adds on to that.
Okay.
Yeah, there is discussion for smaller lot sizes and smaller style homes to meet different economic needs. So, I mean, but again, that's all in discussion and hasn't been codified in any way, but.
Right.
Regarding the house themselves, I don't know, do they have basements?
I think the applicants can probably
Okay,
attest to
I know
that,
this is for
but
staff, but I didn't know how much we
Yeah.
know about the houses themselves yet.
no.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to ask a question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just want to make sure, we're reducing the lot size on this one from 7,200 to like 4, I'm literally almost cutting it in half.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, just a second. And then going back to the master plan question, in a lot of those, we were talking more about like actual neighborhoods and more developments with green space, and so the smaller homes were kind of an overall aesthetic and kind of more self-contained communities. This seems, it seems very different than trying to cram all of these in a piece of property right off Orchard Lake Road. So that, just the difference in my mind compared to the other, you know, reduction in size, but you had like parking and green space, and these just seem close. Okay, thank you.
Okay. This project like that was Melanie Rufford, I think you guys know her on council, has been pushing for housing for low income and all this kind of stuff, the housing. And they wanted to come up with a way to increase the housing stock so people could have it. So this was one of the plans that the council had to come to produce this kind of housing. Only thing I can say, I don't know how smaller will they be than Harrington Hills,
Right.
which has got the same thing. So if they're the smartest, the Harrington Hills, they, you know, the same thing. Because anybody been to Harrington Hills, you got a driveway, house, and I don't know about too much lot size,
Sure not.
you know? So, and that's all over, that's a big neighborhood.
It is.
But, you know, this city screwed up a lot. You know, come on, man. They screwed up with these sides and building houses and neighborhoods and everything around here. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with Mr. Brano. What do you say? You know, I mean, we need the housing and everything, but, you know, I don't know about unless I really see it personally, but how they're gonna look or fit with the family. That's what was in front of council. That's what council was arguing about, the size and all this stuff. So I don't know. I'll let you go at it.
So how many houses will there be in that area?
Let's wait until we move on from administration right now. Administration can answer the number of houses.
Oh, okay, well, how many houses will there be there?
That would be 6.
6?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And for context, since it was brought up, whatever they were calling it, the cute cottages or that overlay that they were considering, again, that was on a whole neighborhood basis. But do we know what the dimensions were on that offhand, or do you guys know? It's not a big deal. I'm just curious. And
It was less. I don't know the exact number. I apologize, but I believe it was closer to 800. Do you know Morgan? I do. This is why we brought Morgan.
okay.
That is correct. The minimum square footage would be 800
In that proposed
in the overlay district.
that failed, correct?
It passed.
Yeah, it passed. We have three such districts currently active in the city.
Oh, okay. I thought initially it failed under.
There was a lot of back through the process, up and down through the boards, but it passed.
Okay, good. And then, so what's the square footage on these homes then?
1152.
Yes.
1152. So, okay.
Pretty
I mean,
decent.
Just for reference, I think the primary difference is not so much the square footage, more the setbacks and the lot size.
I mean, that's the bigger issue, but on this one, we are seeking a variance. The requirement is 1,200, and the proposal is 1,152, so it's a 48-foot, I believe, variance request.
One more question for staff.
Microphone.
Since you mentioned that the ideal of this development, why they need existing lots as originally platted, was financial, but the city owns the property. Is the city giving the property or selling the property?
We're selling the property to the applicant.
Can they reduce the cost to get?
That would be a question I would have to defer to our economic development manager.
Yeah, I
who's
apologize. We are
here.
not involved with
Yeah.
sales in any way. It's a different department.
Apologies.
all right. Any more questions?
And question, on the other ones, you said the 800 square foot for the others, but that's an entire planned development, right, with green space and driveways and.
Actually, no. So,
Because I know there are two different things that were kind of going on.
yes. So the residential infill overlay district, there are 3 overlay districts that are throughout the city. There is an option in those overlays to either utilize the requirements under R1, which is what they are currently zoned, so they would have the regular setbacks, the 1,200 square foot requirements, all of those things. Standards, so rather than requiring higher standards for every single new development in the area, the goal was to reduce the size of some of those developments within the overlay district, but require higher standards. So they would have to use better materials, basically meet higher architectural standards so that those homes, even though they're smaller, look nicer.
Any other questions of the administration? All right, seeing none, would the applicant like to speak?
Hello. You guys hear me? Okay, great. No, I just appreciate the time for you guys hearing all these variances. Our company, Creek Valley Properties, we're really focused on affordable and missing middle housing. I moved to Michigan in 2009 and go to church and very active in the community with kids and football and stuff like that. And one thing I've noticed about the city of Pontiac is there's not any new housing being built. How it all started was we were approached by different businesses here in the area who have employees and residents that live in the city of Pontiac, but there's no new housing going up. And as you know, home ownership is very, very expensive now, and people really don't know how they can achieve home ownership in the American dream. So really our mission and our concept is to create homes that are brand new housing that people can actually afford. And when they purchase the home, number one, they can afford it, and number two, they walk into equity day one of owning the home. We believe home ownership is empowerment, not only to an individual, but to that entire family and the generations afterwards. So just want to kind of give a 2 cents there and open myself to any questions that you guys might have.
Question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it was mentioned that these will be built on a foundation, so they are not mobile homes, they are
They're
modular.
manufactured homes.
Okay.
So how our process is going to work, our process allows for speed and efficiency as well. So the homes are going to be built off-site at another facility. And while that is happening, we're going to be doing the earthwork at the same time using, I think, what type of foundation? We're going to do slab foundation. All that is going to be done at the same time as the home is being built off-site. Once that is done, that's when the home is then transported and attached and permanently attached to the slab foundation. The wheels and axles will be removed, and we also have to fill out paperwork guaranteeing that the home will not be moved. That is how that process is going to work. So to answer your question, these will be permanently installed on the foundation. And because they're permanently installed in the foundation, it allows the buyer to be available to typical financial options, whether they want to go to a Chase Bank, Flagstar, Wells Fargo, wherever, Huntington, wherever they want to go. And it allows them to be able to do that because the home has been permanently attached to that foundation.
And then the construction of the home off-site, right? I'm familiar with that, but what will the construction of the homes be? Is it just a normal stick home? Is it going?
Correct. Everything is done the same way. It's just that it's done inside of a factory. And because our homes are built inside of a factory, there's a huge cost savings. Anytime you're building a typical home from the ground up, especially in today's market, there's costs that usually are incurred, whether it's insurance, labor, equipment, all waste, all those different things are incurred. And a typical developer usually tries to recoup those expenses when they go and sell the home. When we have our homes built inside of a factory, there's a significant savings that happens. Whether it's snowing, it's raining, the home is still being built. And because there is a savings, we then pass that savings over to the home buyer, which allows them to be able to afford the home at a decent price.
Okay, and then just one final question.
Yes.
What is, based on the potential renderings that we saw that Justin had up, what are we looking at price point, and is that going to include everything, right? You're buying the piece of property
Yes.
and the home, and what's our price point?
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to get the financing if the home was not attached. So they're going to be buying the land, the house,
Sure, yep.
everything. And our price point is between around $230,000.
Any other questions of the applicant?
That's the going rate we're about now, so.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I do have you done any development like this before?
So when I originally started my company, we started off as a brokerage, basically helping people buy, sell, move, and finance manufactured homes in different communities. Over the last couple of years since COVID, the pandemic, and things of that nature, private equity moved into manufactured homes to the point where lot rents had started to increase tremendously. But people are still interested in owning a manufactured home. And what ended up happening was we continued to get calls for people that want a manufactured home. They just don't want to live in a community because they can't afford the lot rent. People are making decisions whether to buy their lot rent or pay for their insulin. So what we did, or what we did over the last several months, from end of last year even up until now, is that we started engaging different cities and townships in regards to placing manufactured homes on land. As you know, there's often somewhat pushback because people assume we're trying to put trailers in the communities, and that's not the case. And that's not what we'd be looking to do in this regard. Did that answer your question?
No.
Oh,
I just want to know your track record with.
Oh, as far as, okay. So, no, this would be our first project, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Corktown project that took place in Detroit. Those were all, that was all manufactured homes that were built out there. In fact, the same builder that built those homes in Corktown, they're going to be they're our partner in this project as well. And they have experience in doing this.
And also at 230, which is a little higher than I thought it was going to be. But at 230, how are you working with your potential home buyers to make sure that they are equipped to deal with a $230,000 roughly mortgage?
So at the price point of $230,000, one of the things that we notice when it comes to manufactured homes, buried in the HUD standard, is that HUD actually gives $5,000 towards a grant for anybody that purchases a manufactured home that's installed on land. In addition to that, how the whole project here in Pontiac came to fruition was United Wholesale approached the city of Pontiac, as many of their residents drive 30 to 40 minutes just to come to work, sometimes longer with the snow. And they asked the city of Pontiac, do you guys have any new housing stock? And that's how this whole process started. So United Wholesale is also chipping in anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 in down payment assistance to potential home buyers. And we will be working with Huntington, who has a database of people in the area that are looking to purchase homes. Lighthouse is another organization we're going to be working with for people that want to purchase homes as well. We're going to be getting them through, educating them on owning a home, making sure they understand taxes, property taxes, putting money aside for maintenance and things of that nature. Yes, the home is going to be brand new, but as you live here, things are going to come up as you stay in this property, and just educating them on that as well. So to answer your question, we're going to be giving grant money and down payment assistance to all of our home buyers that purchase this home. Again, our goal is to make these homes as affordable as possible.
That's it for me.
Any other questions?
I thought of one more. So looking at the width of the lots, how is this possible with the garage on the side? There's no way. I mean, you're going to have lawnmower width between houses with the garage being attached on the side.
So you want to answer that? Okay.
So, let me see. This is the garage.
I think this question is best answered by the applicant,
Yeah.
since they're the ones making the request.
Mr. Cook, do you want to chime in?
One of the things that, I'm sorry, my name's Tony Cook. One of the things that we looked at when we were doing this project is that the side yard setbacks. And again, your regulations have slightly changed since, but these lots were previously platted prior to this project coming in. So we actually wanted to do a larger home, but then in terms of working with the side yard setbacks, that's how we arrived at the 1,152 square feet. Yes, it's a reduction of the 5 feet in all the cases where we're asking for, but one of the requirements of making the homes affordable is through what's called the, Yeah, MH Advantage, and MH Advantage requires that there be a garage. The homes are all 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Now, there are options that we could come in with that might be 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and no attached garage, but that doesn't meet with the character of the neighborhood. So when we were looking at it, we actually are having this home we had it specially designed by our manufacturer, which is Champion, but to get it to a smaller size, but yet be able to afford people the sense of they've got space, if you will. And so it's kind of the best of all worlds, but also having to come in with the side yard setbacks. We did probably 4 different versions of this before we came up with one that was reasonable. In fact, we originally wanted to do a 2-car garage in them, and we ended up at the 1.5. Now, we can go down to a 1-car garage, but then that doesn't really give the residents any place to store their equipment. They might be able to get a car in it, or they're going to store equipment in it and not be able to get a car in it. So we're trying to give as much as we can, but yet and still be respectful of a family that might live in this 3-bedroom, 2-bath building.
If I may add, just my understanding of the design is that the house is sort of shifted to the north. So in terms of passing between front yard and backyard, they have more room on the south side yard as opposed to the north side yard. So even though it's very narrow on the north, it's a little wider on the south. That's at least my understanding. The strategy is kind of shifting the house a little. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So that's why it seems like a very extreme side yard reduction, but then you think about the other side, which it's a little wider.
Square footage doesn't include the garage, right?
No, sir, it does not. No, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant? And this location doesn't happen to be in one of the areas where we have the
No,
800 square foot?
No.
Overlay, okay.
No. the
I
overlay.
was just checking to see if it was in the same areas that we have the 800 square foot overlay opportunity. Since we're looking at a variance for square footage, is there any way, and maybe the council can answer this, is there any way that some of those architectural standards could be implemented?
You, as the zoning board, have the opportunity to put conditions on any variances that you grant. That being said, the conditions have to be related to the variance that's requested, which is a little bit of a stretch when we're coming up on rear yard, side yard setbacks and relating those to architectural standards.
I was just curious, because I know that, if you think about the way that the overlays are written, that, and as council mentioned, it was that there was a push for quality, so that you're going to give up something in terms of maybe the size of the structure. It's going to be different than things that we've had in the community, but there's going to be a quality standard. I think there is a concern that, creating housing stock that doesn't have that quality is not necessarily in the best long-term interests of the community, but just a thought there. So,
When you say quality, what exactly do you mean?
well, I mean, it depends. If you're talking about the quality of the siding material, the mills, the quality of all the products that are in place, the number of windows, the quality of the doors. I mean,
Sure. So we actually had the inspector of the city of Pontiac drive down on a 4th of July weekend to Sugar Creek, Ohio, where the facility is. He was there 10 minutes, and he saw the quality of the houses that are being made. In fact, if you ask him, Bruce isn't here tonight, but if you ask him, if you ever see him in the next few days, he will tell you himself that the materials and the standards that they have in the facility in some cases supersede what the state even requires. Because of that, And the reason for that is because back in the old days, people got tired of hearing mobile homes been thrown around and tornadoes and all these different things. And that's when HUD stepped in and said, listen, we want these homes to be built to quality, high quality standards. So I understand what you're saying. That's not the first time I've heard it, which is why we wanted to get the building inspector to come down personally, drive 4.5 hours to Sugar Creek, Ohio, to see the quality of it. So I just had to push back a little bit because I don't want the assumption to, oh, he's bringing a manufactured home, he's going to use cheap materials. I can assure you, these are not going to be cheap materials. This is going to be high-end quality things that we're going to be using for these homes. And the reason for that is, number one, it has to fall in line with the MH Advantage and for them to get the financing. But number two, we believe the people of Pontiac deserve nice stuff like any other community. So we would never bring low-quality, substandard materials to the city, given the fact that we believe people in the city deserve nice things and nice homes, just like any other city here in Oakland County.
Justin, can you, on one of the drawings, there looked like it was that one. There's that kind of, we've got the upper edge, that square, and along the back, and there's that like angled, is that some kind of a fence, or what is that going around the property?
It's just the shape of the parcel.
That's just the shape of the parcel.
No, I know what she's referencing.
That right there.
Yeah. What is that? Could the applicant respond?
That is, for some reason, when the person surveyed it, they found something underground and then they mapped it. And we asked him, is it, because we don't need a retaining wall there because the slope, there is a hill there.
There's a hill, right.
But the slope, it can be feathered in a way where we would not need a retaining wall. And we've asked that question a couple times ourselves, why did the architect put that there? And we don't know if it's something that's underground or what it might be, if there's a foundation of something that was previously there. But it came up or it was in this drawing when we received it. But when you physically go out there, there's nothing visible at all.
No, and I drove the property and I saw that there's the very large hill, so that's, I was concerned about like the depth and then seeing that, it looked like it was.
And so when you were out there, you also saw the survey stakes and you see.
I just could see one.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
couldn't see them further back to get a true feel for
Okay. Well, there were some kids playing in that field, unfortunately.
how narrow the lots were.
Yeah, they were all staked out, so unfortunately.
All right, any other questions?
Mr. Chair, so is the city's sale of this contingent upon this action we do tonight, or are the two not connected?
I don't believe the two are connected, but if this doesn't go through tonight, I don't see why they would proceed. But I don't know. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
Is the city council behind this? From me watching city council meetings, is they the one pushing this, the housing, especially
think we
Mrs.
should.
Rutherford?
I don't think we should actually.
Okay,
say
I'm not
just
aware of
for
any.
the sake of.
Can I
Watching
speak after
meetings-
you?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we are the zoning board. We are here to grant variance. Am I correct?
Correct.
So if we know that the city of Pontiac is in beyond desperate need of housing, why are we so objective to it? We're not the city council. We're not, you know what I'm saying? We're speaking for the people as a whole. And everyone in that district on Orchard Lake and Walnut is beyond excited for the housing. I can say that. They are beyond exciting for the housing. So let's not get in the way of doing what's right for the city. You know what I'm saying? Let's just do our part. Yes, no, maybe so, and let's keep it moving.
And to Morgan's point, if there are conditions that you all would like to implement, you're more than welcome to do so.
This is a weird question. So, and I think looking at just the one, I know it's, I don't know if Morgan, if we can go ahead, to look at all of it together. I love the look of the houses. I like the fact that they're on foundations. And I'm probably jumping ahead, so I apologize here. To look at just one single unit, and I notice you've got a lot of the same variances throughout the properties, right, to get there. And to kind of see that overall property, my concern is it feels crowded to have the 6 homes. Is there, but again, I love the look of them. I like the fact that you've got the garage, you've got the front porch, they have the foundations. They're pre-manufactured and assembled on site. They are not mobile homes, right? I think you've addressed most of my major concerns with the idea of the project. 'Cause if they had wheels, I'd be like, no, that's no different than
Right.
validating a camper park,
Right.
right? So to see kind of like what that overall layout would look like with all 6 of them, do we have that?
Unfortunately not, no.
We sent it. I mean, we have it. I mean, Tony can give you the phone, and if you guys want to take a look at it.
Yeah, because I'm just, we're looking at like 4 feet. So you're looking at, houses that are very close. It's that side yard setback that just.
Is there a way it can be sent to the computer to put it up?
If you're willing to give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good thing to look at. I mean, this is a whole project.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I would like to see that as
It's a
well. Just
valid
what does
point.
it look
Does that
like
make sense? Do you
with all
understand
6?
what I'm asking?
I'm in y'all's world, man. I'm just trying to build homes for people, man. I'm just trying to do what the community wants
You
and
sound like a
needs.
married man. I'm living in your.
Yeah, I'm just a guy, man. I'm just here.
Yeah, we're not trying to give you a hard time or nothing. We're just trying to make sure it makes sense.
No, no,
That's it.
Yeah.
Didn't they build homes like that down in, on, south side, southeast side of Pontiac? What's the name of the place, Habitat?
Oh, Habitat for Humanity.
A bunch of houses just like that on the smaller lots?
Yeah, they did some smaller,
On the east side.
smaller lot houses, yeah.
If the city was against it, they would have said something.
No, I mean, these old lots, man.
They're configured, yeah, they're configured differently.
They're a
Been
challenge.
on Heritage Hills?
It's a challenge.
I'm not the person that asked.
Okay, if anybody know about Heritage Hills, same thing.
Yeah, you right next to your neighbor when you step in your driveway.
I don't want to see what kind of shampoo you're
I'm
using.
talking about, if you wanna see it, you're right next to your neighbor. Heritage Hills, when you, the next door is just like that.
It is.
Right there. Driveway, and then the first front lot, and they right close together. A whole entire neighborhood is just like that. That's nothing new.
No, it's not.
And you couldn't build another house, and the houses are built, well, you guys know, in Heritage Hills, the houses are built with a shed like this, but the houses are built going back.
Yes.
Because they couldn't build it to have room on each side. So they build it going back, and you got a driveway, and then you're on the person lot.
You're at your neighbor's property.
Right, so they got a whole, Pontiac been doing this, they did build a whole neighborhood, that's a huge subdivision. But I noticed the way the houses are built is built going back, because they couldn't get a house going crossways. And like, for the price of the houses, that's cheap, because in my neighborhood, the price of the house now is starting at $400,000.
It sure is.
And the cheapest one is $300-some thousand. I mean, it's the price of material, the price of all that kind of stuff.
Everything went up.
Everything went up.
Everything went up.
If they ever wanted to put fences up, there would be an improvement. Would there be?
We don't put fences up around here.
No, I'm just. Would be for the fencing, that's what I was thinking.
I haven't seen any fences in the subdivision like that. I know we can't do it.
Well, no, I know some of the houses, like on the back side of it, have privacy privacy fences, I think there would be enough room, you know, with the setbacks.
But we should be, I don't know how the city allowed Stonegate to have some houses with just a back door, with no deck on it, or nothing like that. Sewer problem with water on it.
Man, Stonegate's a headache.
Well, that's what we don't want.
Right.
Yep. Well, we gotta shut it down. Since the day one. But check that out.
But when you got Mr. involved in there, they ain't gonna let you be like that. Cause they have, yeah.
Thank you for your patience, sorry to. I know, but I feel bad asking.
So while we're waiting, Justin, we have to approve all of these. Each one has 4 different.
So 17 is also zoned R2. That one has 3 variances. So we can skim through that. But I think I would like to do an overall assessment of 21, just because that's zoned differently than the initial 2.
Okay.
See that? That's what I'm talking about. Whole neighborhood, just like.
Yeah, a whole development full of them. It's a whole development.
This is what I was telling you.
I mean, it's done all over the country, but it depends on the situation. If it's an urban setting where you got no land, then you do what you do.
Yeah,
But
they're shotgun houses, right? Like they're row houses.
And then you update your land use plan and everything. What would you want to watch? Well,
Right straight through.
We had shotgun houses. Shoot through the front and to go out through the back, bedroom, kitchen and everything, one side or the other.
And the garage is usually around the back.
Yeah, that's what they call it, shotgun. You can take a shotgun and shoot it right through it, hit nothing. But they were cheap houses that people could afford that they built a lot of them.
back in the day.
Back in the day, shotgun houses, everybody. But when I looked at Ayers Hill, the other man that I showed her, I said, that's smaller than that even. You got to give that Pontiac the job that they did.
As long before we all was here.
Huh?
Long before we are all of us.
Yeah. One side of the town got big lots, one side got small lots, one side's got this kind of lots. All over.
I'm hungry.
This is the time we should have had snacks from the administration.
Right. Would have been nice.
Yeah, would have been nice. Hey, the next time we get
My
along,
stomach
we
over
want
here
snacks.
growling.
Yeah, pizza and something to drink. Maybe a little bit of octane in it.
he's gonna be here
My
a long
job
time.
keep
That's what
calling me to go see what they want.
Oh, you're off duty. This is my time.
This is one packet I think I'm gonna leave on the desk here. I should take one. Those ones, that thing that got
Okay.
Ain't nothing like no other, I mean,
What are those dimensions between 29 and 20? What is that dimension? It's crazy. Wow. Can you fit a lawnmower between these? Yeah, that's what he's saying. It's like bigger on this side, shorter on that side, but this one looks short on both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's tight.
it fit the aesthetics of what's all the homes in Pontiac. I mean, it fit all the homes, I mean, if you look at
Yeah.
the subdivisions, I mean,
Like I just showed her the Hampton Hills.
yeah,
She said, oh, no way.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the way it is.
that's the way it is.
That's the way they built the whole subdivision. One of the most influential subdivisions around.
Well, based on us having access to this, does anyone have any questions of administration or the applicant?
These,
After having seen this?
I have a question. Are these, what I'm looking at,
Can you turn your mic on, please?
these what I'm looking at, are they the same measurements all the way around each one of them?
Each home?
Each home? Huh?
They're all different.
Yeah, some of these are different than the others, just based off of the layout of where the parcel is.
Okay. What about on the end down here from Orchard Lake? What is that right there? It's got a driveway, but I can't read with these glasses and stuff. I mean, where it says J Walnut, right here.
Oh, that's not Orchard Lake, this is Orchard Lake.
Okay, this is Walnut. Now, what is this down here? Walnut.
The 37?
That's a residence, different, it's outside of
That's a
the,
different
outside of the
residence outside
development.
of the
Oh,
properties.
that's the other side of the property?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what setbacks look like normally
Okay.
in this area, to give context. So we're going to go through each of these individually. I mean, I do have a question about another one of the units, but I mean, this is all contingent upon one another. So, you know, I suppose I could wait, but my question on 25 Walnut is, it just looks like it's got such smaller setbacks than any of the others. I mean, I know there's supposed to be more on one side than the other, but
Which one is 25?
25 is the fourth one from the top, fourth one down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just, and I know this is not this specific case that we're looking at, but as I said, if you know, it's an overall project. We're not going to approve one and not the rest, or vice versa. So, is the applicant okay with answering a question about 25 Walnut, or does administration have a concern about that, or?
I think it's the only way to do this, so, yeah.
Can you provide the side setbacks on 25 Walnut? because they just both look really small. Maybe it's just visual.
Were you asking the administration or us?
Well, yeah, I think you're the ones that have the information. If you, whoever.
No, it's item E in the agenda. So it gives the,
He asked for both setbacks on both sides.
They
North.
start over for each one, so trying to get to the correct page, they start at one for each.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yours
so
is a
that's
little
why.
different than our, okay.
So trying to go through
Gotcha,
them is
okay.
a lot.
Yeah. If we're only requesting I'm doing this from memory, but if we're only requesting the setbacks on one side, then no, that's different here. We moved it, tried to move the lots, tried to move the homes to one side so we could reduce the number of variances that were requested. And the side yard setback on this one was the 2.7 feet on the side yard setback.
And what about the other side, the part that doesn't need a variance, but,
I don't believe it would need a variance because we
right, but
didn't
what is the
list it.
setback?
The setback's still 5 feet.
It's 4.4 on the north and 2.7 on the south for 25.
Thank you.
It's like halfway through the
Yeah.
packet.
Finally found it.
That's 29 Walnut. Oh, too far above. I was on 29.
Because then if you look then 29, which is the next one, south is the same, so 4.4 and 2.7. So you're literally, does this mean? I'm sorry. So if you've got 4.4 and 2.7, you literally have 6.5 feet between houses. I know that code requires, depending upon the distance between houses, isn't there something about firewalls? Because, I mean, 6 feet distance between houses is, one catches on fire and they're all gone.
I'm not sure off the top of my head. However, Bruce Eck, the building official, has seen these plans, and he would have to sign off on them before anything was built. And he's the one that would check that.
He's also the one who traveled to Ohio.
I know.
Yeah,
So I think it's 5 feet, but I don't want to speak out of
yeah.
Between?
between as the minimum for fire safety.
Lawnmower, you're cutting.
Can I make a recommendation? Since we have so many questions and the guy that went to, down there with him to, do we need any table lists to get more answers to questions?
I mean, as it's been discussed already, we're here to up or down a variance request. So,
I got a question for Ms. Attorney. Ms.
Yes.
Morgan, question. I know we're here to grant a variance, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 homes, right? Mm-hmm. So why couldn't we eliminate one home? Because I'd rather for us to make a firm decision, all of us to be in agreement with everything. based on this right now, it, you know what I'm saying, it won't be fair to the applicant, but we also are not going to allow something to come into Pontiac, you know, in this nature, which we want you to build, we welcome you to build, but something got to be a little bit more, if you get where I'm going.
Absolutely, I do.
Okay.
So a couple of things. The first thing is that under our zoning ordinance, an applicant who is denied cannot resubmit for a variance for 6 months. So if you guys have questions that could potentially be answered with additional information from administration, I would recommend that you table this until the December Planning Commission, or sorry, Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Additionally, you as a zoning board can only either approve with conditions, or deny a request that's before you. So you have to go through every single one of the requests for a variance that is before you and either approve with conditions, or deny. That means that you're going to start off with 13 Walnut, you're going to consider the first variance, you're going to move to do whatever you choose to do for that first variance. And then 2, 3, 4, all the way down the list for every single one of these variances. You can't simply say, what if you reassessed this and only did 5 of these homes? In theory, you could, if you wanted to, only grant the variances for 5 of the properties. But if you look at that practically, and I'm not making any arguments for or against, this is solely up to you. But if you look at that practically, then you have 5 lots that are developed with these, I think you guys are all concerned about the side yard setbacks specifically from what you're saying, with these small side yard setbacks, and then a 6th property that's just empty. If you want to move to table this and deliberate in that motion and make some points to the applicants, then that might be the best way to do this. Because if the applicants want to bring this back before you with a different request, then they absolutely are entitled to do that, but that is up to them. You guys can't change all the variance requests to be however you want them, unfortunately. You just have to vote on what is before you. So if there are some concerns that you have and there is more information that you think might be helpful, my recommendation would be to move to table this, bring this back at the December ZBA meeting, and have that additional information so that you can make an educated decision, rather than making a decision tonight that the applicant can't come back and challenge for another 6 months. Of course, they can always appeal it. So if you move to deny it, they could take this to the circuit court if they wanted to. But I don't know that that solves any of the problems that are before you guys. I think that if there are questions that could be answered but cannot be answered tonight, moving to table might be the best idea. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
So it may
Sorry,
be.
I just want to add that if we do move to table, just be very specific about what additional information is needed.
That's where I was going to go. So it may be beneficial for us to hear from the building inspector. There'd be things like I'd be curious to know what in Pontiac are our current smallest setbacks and how did they come to be, if that will help provide context. I'm sure there's other questions and issues that others would like to add.
And I guess a question for, not for you, Morgan, but for the applicant, just out of curiosity, as we're talking about this, and the concern was mentioned about the side yard. Does 5 work in your plan, or, and I'm just, hypothetically, if we came back and said 5 and wanted to, if we were kind of leaning toward that would make more sense with our concerns, is that even feasible? Do you even move forward with the project? If that's...
Well, Pontiac is a unique city because we don't, as a city, they don't have the luxury of just selling the homes at a higher price point. There's only so much home people can afford in Pontiac. So for us to go and make changes at this juncture, we're going into winter.
Right.
It costs money to pay surveyors and engineers, and we've already spent an exorbitant amount of money just getting it to this point. This is 10 months just to get in front of you guys today. So in theory, yes, but ultimately it would put us in a bind where we're forced to sell it at a higher price point, and now you have nothing. So we're trying our best to work with the city to provide home ownership, quality housing, but as you know, it costs money on our end as well. So I hope that answers your question.
It does, thank you.
So we have some options before us, approve, deny, table. And as was mentioned, I think we'd have to go through each one individually. So that being said, if there's no other questions of either the applicant or administration or council, is there any motion for any of those options?
I think we should table this and speak with Bruce. Yeah, because I don't want it to affect the applicants.
The applicants.
Yeah, so I think we should table it and ask the questions of Bruce that we need to get our answers so we can make a sound decision, for the applicants.
And I'll just say, is there any other questions that we want to put on record or think about that could be addressed at the next meeting if the applicant returns?
Well, and I guess just one thing I just wanted to bring up, based on the master plan, right now the median home value in Pontiac is $100,100. In Oakland County, it's $330,800. In Michigan is $224,400. So these are coming in a lot higher, which is, I think, why we're all looking at them so carefully, right? If our median home value in Pontiac is $100,000 and we're coming in at double that, we just want to make sure we're doing this the right way for the residents.
May I speak?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but as a licensed broker, we've done a BPO based upon the area to keep it affordable. Because in addition to each of the homes selling at the market price of $230,000, we also are going to sell one at 60% AMI as a service, if you will, or as part of the project in terms of the affordability here. So when you begin to look at those factors, in addition to the fact that the 1.5 garage, if we were to take that to a 1-car garage, that seems to solve the setback problem in a lot of ways. But what it does is it takes away from the person's ability to now store things inside. And so that's the consideration, particularly where it is, you're at a major corner there with Orchard Lake and Walnut. And so to me, storage is going to be a factor. And we don't create things or projects where it's going to be an eyesore in the future. And we just don't want that. But if that is the solution.
I mean, we're talking around it, but what you're saying kind of brings it to light that what a quality home offers.
Yes, sir.
And there doesn't seem to be enough space here to provide what a quality home offers at 6X. So, I mean, it is kind of making the point regarding the concern. So I definitely appreciate the perspective, and there are obviously questions that everybody has up here that hopefully we can answer in in another meeting if you choose to attend. If there's a second to the motion
Right, but-
and.
Sir, if I may, before you make the motion, is that talking to the building official does not change the dimensions of the lot. And so what we would like is if the setback is the issue, changing from a 1.5 to a 1-car garage, reducing the request would settle that. Am I correct in terms of coming up with a solution? Because even after you talk to the building official, it doesn't change the dimensions.
I'm not going to speak for the board, but I think the reason for tabling would be to get some answers to questions, and if during that time you decide to make adjustments to your plans, that is up to you.
Okay, thank you.
So if he makes, adjustments to everything, and would we need to, have any more questions about that? So if he makes the adjustments, because that would then allow the side setbacks, more room for the side setbacks, right?
So I know where you're going with this, and maybe council can help us. Would we be able to approve with condition that the plans were changed to include a single-car garage, therefore changing the side yard setbacks? But to me, it sounds like that changes the whole
Right, we want to be.
foundation of the application, so.
Right, it sounds like that.
That would be my opinion, that's not a condition as much as an amendment to the variance request, which would have to come from the applicant.
Okay.
And to be clear and safe, given the size of the yards with the 1-car garage as you're proposing, there's still not enough room for an out structure anyway, so they still couldn't have a shed on these properties, correct? There's not enough room for any type of a shed.
I mean, so you're required, is it 3 feet from property line, 10 feet from a building?
Correct.
So they could make a shed as long as it meets those, but it's unlikely.
Okay.
So, I have to take a step back. Was that a motion that we got from Kirkendorf?
No.
Was not a motion?
Oh, no.
No.
Well, I mean, I would just say yes to everything tonight, no problem with me, but, I just want to make sure we make a sound decision and make sure we're doing, what's right. I don't want us to make a decision and just be, you know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
if we need to table it, then let's table it. If not, then let's move forward and get these people on out the way.
And I have one more question. So going in the opposite direction, right? If we approve tonight, are we, and Morgan, I don't know if this is for you as well, are we now setting a precedent? I know HDC, right, each case is its own, you look at it separately, but are we now potentially creating a precedent where 2.6 feet is acceptable as a side yard setback, because that changes things?
I'm going to defer to Morgan.
Potentially, yes. So the goal of the ZBA is always to be as impartial as possible. You want to avoid any appearance of bias. And the best way to do that is to treat like cases likely. So if someone comes before you with the exact same situation, then yes, you wouldn't have to. You should. It would be my advice to you to grant that variance. But the fact of the matter is, even different facts might bring you to a different result. So if you have a reason for treating a different case differently, say they have the ability to meet these side yard setbacks much more than this situation does, where these parcels of property are fairly small, then you might find differently in that situation. It really depends on the facts, but of course, yes, if the exact same situation came before you with the exact same fact pattern, I would highly recommend you do the exact same thing next time.
So, question to us, is the knowing of the 5 foot for the side variance, is that one of the things that we want to know also? Is that okay?
The question,
About
I
the
think,
fire?
about the, yeah,
Yes.
what is the actual, I am assuming state required code? or
But,
do we
but
have
that could be a
city required?
condition, right? that they
5
have to
yards for the
meet.
side yard?
5.
Yes, that's the required
That's the
setback.
required?
Yes, 5 feet, yes.
5 feet.
5 feet, excuse me,
5 feet.
5 feet from the property line,
And so these are over the 5 feet though, right?
under,
They're under?
It'd be 6.
correct?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So how much is it between buildings? That's what I want.
Wait a minute. Right. Wait a minute, yeah, because the way you just said that, so
I think the applicant does have the answer to that question.
do you, like, what's, for fires, to have firewall, is it 5 feet between buildings or 5 feet, like 10 feet between?
It's like 5, Tony, isn't it 5 feet on each side?
Okay.
It's 5 feet on each
So,
side.
yeah,
On the
these
side
are
of
the
the
types of things that
On
we need
each.
to postpone this for, yeah.
I'm sorry.
On each property, a 5-foot setback for
Yeah, let's
fire.
get the clarification.
Yeah, we need to postpone.
Yeah.
Yes, let's please postpone.
So do we have a motion?
I make a motion to postpone 13 Walnut Street.
All of them, or?
Do we gonna,
I don't think we can do
We have a
that.
We have
sample.
to go through
Each one?
Each one,
oh, boy, okay.
and that is
I would
for,
recommend that we could do a motion to postpone application ZMA 24-011, which would postpone all 4 of those variances, and then we can do that for each of the applications.
Okay.
thank you, Morgan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me find them.
So in the motion, are you going to state and clarify the reason specifically that we're postponing? Because if there's work that we can be doing, we would like that opportunity.
Morgan.
My recommendation is do a motion to postpone ZBA 24-011, then second that, and then deliberate. And you can say, these are the things that we want to see next month.
Okay. All right, I make a motion for ZBA 24-0113 to deliberate also?
Postpone.
I'm sorry, to postpone, then to deliberate.
It's, after the motion is made and seconded, I can ask that
Right.
we
Okay.
have discussion on the motion.
Okay.
So
The motion is for postponement.
there's been a motion for postponement of this application. Is there a second?
I'll second.
So we've got a motion from Kirkendall, a second by McClelland, and can we have a roll call, please?
Yeah, you have to
deliberate,
sorry
please.
first.
And if I may, I did take notes on the information you are looking for, and I can read that off for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great.
Thank
Real
you.
quick before you do that, Corey.
Yep.
I would recommend amending the motion, if you could, to postpone to December, the December meeting, just to make sure that it's clear that it's going to be on the December meeting.
Yes.
Yes,
And
thank you.
is the motion maker okay with that?
Yes,
Okay,
And I will second that.
okay.
okay.
So deliberation on the motion.
All right, so my notes indicate more information is needed on, or information is needed on how much space between buildings is necessary for fire safety. More information on if they reduce to a one-car garage, what would the new setback request be? How would that affect the overall plan? More information on the history of setbacks in the city, why these parcels are so narrow, and then a need to hear from Bruce Eck for testimony.
Yes.
Anything else anyone can think of that we'd like to hear?
Still looking at 6 houses then?
Correct.
If that's what's brought
Yeah.
forward, then yes.
The 6 houses. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I think that pretty much covers it, what Corey summarized.
Okay, that's fine, Corey.
And I just, one thing, and I think we covered it, I just want, in my head, making sure the lots that we're talking about are already existing lots. This was, you didn't subdivide these and make up the lot sizes. This is what already, I just want to make sure.
Exists.
We're clear on
Yeah.
that. They didn't decide to
Correct.
divide this up into 6. They were 6.
Correct.
Okay, so if we have all the deliberative notes, then I guess we can move to roll call.
May,
Yes.
Bueno,
Yes.
McClellan,
Yes.
Chair Bavacqua,
Yes.
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 Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next,
We did the same thing
For
for each one.
each one?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so it.
Oh, I thought you said we did it.
Application.
Ooh-wee.
And that's the agenda.
It's on the
It's on the
agenda,
agenda, yeah, it's on the
Okay.
agenda.
yeah.
Understood.
So I'll make the second one. I'll say, I'll move that we postpone variance ZBA 24-012 until our December 16th, 2024 meeting.
And would we do that with the same deliberation notes attached to it?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, second.
so you're okay with that amendment then?
Yes, yes.
And so we have a motion from McClellan, second by Burke. We've deliberated, and we will request a roll call.
Okay. May,
Yes.
Bueno.
Yes.
McClellan,
Yes.
Chair Bavacqua,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
This the next one here?
Next one is the 13th.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to postpone ZBA 24-013.
Second.
And we'd like to add deliberation notes to that as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I want to make sure we include to the December 16th meeting.
And
Oh, to December 16th, next ZBA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
okay. With that done, do we have a roll call, please?
May,
Yes.
Bueno. McClellan,
Yes.
Chair Bavacqua,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Moving on.
All right, I make a motion to postpone ZBA 24-014 until the next meeting in December
16th.
with deliberations.
I second.
So we've got a motion from Kirkendall, second by May. We'd like to add the deliberation notes, and can we get a roll call, please?
May,
Yes.
Bueno,
Yes.
McClellan,
Yes.
Chair Bavacqua,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Next one.
I make a motion to postpone ZBA 24-015 for the next December meeting.
That's fine. You're fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And is there a second?
I second.
So we've got a motion from Kirkendall, a second from May, and we'd like to add deliberation notes. And can we get a roll call, please?
May,
Yes.
Bueno,
Yes.
McClellan,
Yes.
Chair Bavacqua,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
And the last one is, I would like to make a motion for ZBA 24, I'm sorry, for postponement for ZBA 24-020 for a December meeting with deliberations.
I second.
So we've got a motion from Kirkendall, second by May, and we would like to add deliberation notes. And can we get a roll call on that?
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Chair Bavacqua,
Yes.
McClellan,
Yes.
Bueno,
Yes.
and May.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. See you guys in December.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next item on the agenda is approval of the 2025 ZBA calendar.
Approve.
So do we need an approval and a motion and a second on that? Or
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
So is there a motion?
I move that we accept,
Yes, it's in,
approve the 2025 ZBA calendar.
Last,
So we've got a motion to
all the
approve
way
by
in.
McClellan, second by May. Roll call, please, unless anybody wants to deliberate on that motion.
No, no.
Is that time 6:30 again?
yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, someone did want to deliberate. So we can get a roll call, please?
Anderson,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Chair Bavacqua,
Yes.
McClellan,
Yes.
Bueno,
Yes.
and May. Thank you. Motion passes.
And the next item is miscellaneous. Do we have any miscellaneous?
No miscellaneous.
All right. And now we're on to staff communications.
So as it's been stated 6 times, the next meeting is December 16th at 6:30 p.m. And if there are any absences from now until the holiday season, as I know people are going to be going out of town to visit family, friends, please feel free to give us a call or email and let us know that you will not be in attendance for next month's meeting.
All right. And then is there a master plan update, or are we?
So we have a community meeting at the Bowen Senior Citizen Center this Wednesday, November 20th. We recommend as many people attend and partake as possible. We're running out of possible dates for engagement. We're kind of coming to a close. So if you've not yet engaged with the master plan, please do.
Can you state what time, Corey?
That'll be 6 to 8
Okay, thank you.
at the Bowen Center
When?
on November 20th.
And is that it for staff communications?
That is it for staff communications.
All right. I guess we'll move for adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
Great evening.